This is a trade recap for Thursday, May 14th, 2026. Number 10 of 30 for phase 5 of One and Done. I bumped it up from 10 to 30 because that seemed like a kind of good number to go with and then reevaluate from there. So, pretty, I'd say, normal-ish day in the market for the most part. I think if it's anything super out of the ordinary, but not really. So with that being said, we can get started. But before we do that, if you're new or struggling with day trading and you're looking for a coach who'll give you the right mentorship and guidance that you truly need to get where you want to be to that professional level, Pat Mitchell over at tricktrades.com is who you want to be learning from. He runs an education service, not an alert service, and he's been doing this for over a decade now, and he proves day in, day out what it means to be a professional trader. So if you're potentially interested in learning from him, like I said, check out his website over at tricktrades.com, or you can check the description below. There's some links to the memberships. Saves a little bit of money in your first month if you want to give it a shot. If you want a sample of the information he puts out there, jump over to his YouTube page. He has over 1,700 videos on there at this point, probably getting closer to 1,800. And it's an entire library of knowledge. It'll just be very difficult for you to pick out all the pieces in the knowledge base, put all of it together, and act upon it. So I recommend just learn directly from the man himself. Well worth your time and your money. So into the charts. So if you are new here, kind of the way this is set up is we only trade SPY and Qs. Only those two, nothing else. This top row here, this is SPY. This row down here, this is Qs. On the left, I have my daily chart. In the middle, I have my 1 minute intraday chart, and I keep my order execution here on the right. Now, these blue levels you see, these are the levels struck by Pat starting the night before and then refining the morning of for our trade plans. And when he builds the trade plans, once these levels are set, they do not move for any reason whatsoever. They're static. So this morning, with where we were opening up, we were on SPY kind of in between these two levels, but again, right by, again, the high of yesterday, so a new all-time high kind of situation. And while the SPY levels were better than they were yesterday, they were a little just weirdly placed, where just how they have to line up. This one was actually looking decent. So if we popped at the open, we had a couple of shorting levels here, a less desirable shorting level, which would have been a quicker in and out. As you can see, that one did trigger and worked. And then you had the main shorting level up top based upon this trend line. So, and then on Qs, where we're opening up kind of right on top of this level. We were both interested. We're interested in both long and short, depending on how it interacted. So we just had to kind of wait for it to clear to see exactly whether or not, again, it was going to come back down for the long or slice through and come back up so we could take it short. And then we had just the upper level, which was kind of just a more traditional short. So we open up, and the first thing we did, as you can see, was pop on SPY, pop on Qs. And Qs basically just looked like it started, again, squeezing and running up a little bit right into this level. SPY at this time, again, was one of those things where this was a non-main level, so was watching Qs for that main trade. So as it was coming up, where are my entries? Came up into it, hit it, started with speed, at which is what you want. Speed, distance, very little in terms of retracement, valid level. Again, all signs go for, again, what we're generally looking for. But just the way this market has been trading, I only entered it with one as we were kind of coming up into that, simply because I wanted to save all my size just in case we need it because we pushed a little bit further. So when we did, we came up into kind of the risk level. I corrected with 2. Then when we popped through it, hit it with another 2. So in with a total of 5 up here. And then I was just patient and was waiting to see whether or not I get stopped out because this wants to continue higher, or if we get some kind of follow through. Now, the interesting thing, like right in here, is when it started kind of demonstrating some volatility, got whippy back and forth. So again, just kind of observing at that point to see really which direction we wanted to go. Now, as it was doing that, as it came back down, I did size out a little bit. Just take some size off the table to, again, see whether or not this was potentially just going to squeeze out more. And then was just patient with the rest. So after these 2 dumps, basically was holding 3. And then as we got the follow through, peeled off 1, peeled off another, kind of retraces back up to kind of figure out what it wants to do at this level. And then right in here was getting ready to get things set up to take off the last one. And I accidentally hit buy as I was grabbing my mouse and immediately took that one off. So that didn't result in anything other than paying some stupid commissions. And then on this dump where I was holding my last one, took it off. So for that one, I, again, sacrificed a bit of P&L because I paid myself early, and these were both, again, it was still red at that point. And then with these, ultimately, is what basically wiped out these 2 right here, wiped out that loss with a small green. And then this is what the meat and kind of potatoes of my P&L came from, which was, it was $43. Yep, $43 on the P&L, 5 contracts traded. So all in all, happy that I stuck with the trade, added and averaged. And again, that's kind of one of the things that I've really been trying to work on, is adding averaging so I can correct my positions so that they're again closer to the bid and ask, as opposed to, again, because traditionally I would be between like 20 and 40 cents away from, again, whatever the current bid and ask was. I'm trying to tighten that up. I want, ideally, Pat aims for 10 cents or less. So I'm trying to figure out, again, kind of on the fly in the moment, the size needed to be added to get within that threshold without necessarily getting oversized, depending on what exactly the market is doing, what levels we're interacting with, where we are in terms of the levels for the trade plan, the risk, all that. So a bunch of those moving parts and pieces, just kind of getting all that figured out for myself. That way I can hit that, hopefully, again, get within that 10 cents or less when it really matters. And then being patient, paying into targets, entering, or again, just executing on the appropriate levels, whether they be the struck levels, technical risk levels, what Pat would call natural levels in the price action. Again, really doing it, not just doing things willy-nilly, really having a plan for everything. Because that is what's needed to really do this on that professional level. And something I'm really trying to actively incorporate in every single one of my trades going forward. So that is more or less how the day went. Went well. I am happy with it. Could I have been more patient in terms of, again, taking those 2 off while they were red? Perhaps, but given the flicker back and forth on these candles in here, it would not have surprised me if this did squeeze out and get stopped out of the position. But it's also one of those things, again, we make those choices, again, based upon what I was seeing. Sizing down a little bit was the right thing to do, just to be a little bit cautious because of just the level of irrationality in the market right now. So, like I said, all in all, good day, and onward to the next one. Hopefully everyone else had a good day, and we will catch you tomorrow for the next one. Have a good one.